So I want to document this next part that I've become aware of in this awakening process. So I've spent the last week or so meeting up with different people, last couple of weeks really, and I'm taking notice of how I seem to change when I meet up with people, and how I change differently depending on who it is. And a friend said to me a while ago, like, you know the saying, you are the people that you spend the most time with. Well, it's like that, but on steroids. So I also believe that this could be why we retreat and don't be around too many people through this process, because it's almost like we get led into realization that we're actually, and I mean this might not apply to everyone, and I didn't understand it to the degree that I'm beginning to now. It's like we are everyone that we're around a little bit, and I guess the less you know who you are, the more you become somebody else. So I guess as children, we probably form these things quite early, and then maybe going through school, like it morphs. Maybe when you go to work, it morphs, and then as your friendship circles change, and it's also like the information that you listen to and expose yourself to, and it's like this is common knowledge, right? But it is so much deeper than what I realized before. So a friend of mine a few months ago, or like 6 weeks ago, was telling me about mirror neurons. And she was saying how we actually do that. We actually mirror. There's like neurons within us. And I don't know any scientific wording, but it mirrors who we're around. So we're sort of like basically become them if we're not strong enough to hold our own. And I at the time was like, yeah, that's why it's important who you surround yourself with, the information and da. Well, this last like 6 weeks when I stopped everything, I was sort of just, being the old, just humaning as you would in an unconscious way, like, just watching Netflix whenever, and I don't know, just hanging out with non-spiritual people, not meditating, not doing any of those things. And the difference was massive. The biggest one was, it was like fucking torture. But I know it was like torture, not because people were bad or what I was doing was negative or anything. Well, but because there was no escape for me. There was no, and in this conscious awareness, there was no outlet kind of thing. It was just like all of this crap coming at me, and I was just like drowning in it. But it all had to happen, I believe. Anyway, so yesterday I really was just like, hang on a minute. Everything that I felt a few days ago seems to be morphing again. And then it like came up that it was the people that I'd been hanging around and how much they were actually influencing, or not them, I was allowing them to influence me. And I was like, what's happening? So I started to be like, okay, so this is a few days ago, I started to notice it, and then I've noticed it, but I can't control it. And that's when it gets really interesting, because it's when you're doing it without being able to control it that you go, hang on a minute, I'm not sure I'm liking this. So I asked my friend who told me about the mirror neurons, and she explained a whole heap of stuff, and that it's part of awakening. So basically we'd go through life being this way, and then when we come into the awareness of it, it's then allowing our true self to be able to be seen and lived, and holding that part of you stronger than anything in your environment or anything else around you, information, anything. So I'm like back to the whole, because I've really just been feeling like, hang on a minute, I don't know. I had this imagery of like a porcelain statue, and it's starting to crack, and I'm like all these pieces. Well, all these pieces are cracking, and then as it cracks, there's just nothing there. I was like, am I literally just parts of everything around me, and there's nothing else there? So I don't know if any of you have been through this, but it's really interesting, and I wanted to document it because it's definitely part of these stages of basically the journey back to ourselves. And because at the moment it looks like that's not existent, like I don't even know who I am underneath all of these things, because I know I can grab any identity I want and roll with it, but I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be what anyone tells me to be or what I think I should be. I want to know who the fuck I am underneath everything. And I don't know, maybe this is why the yogis go sit in the Himalayas, because how do you discover who you are while you're still in the world around all these people and around all this information? And I mean, I feel like it's happening all on its own, but yeah, just allowing myself to be in that space of awareness. Wow, I'm really just pieces of everything around me. And why is it me and other people aren't doing it? But I guess, considering it's an actual, like, I want to say biological, it's like a thing the body does, is very, very strange. That's right, she said it was when you're in fight or flight mode, which I didn't really think that I was. Maybe that's why I'm becoming aware of it now. It's crazy shit. Yeah, so I posted on my Instagram about feeling like a chameleon, because that's how I feel. It's like positive trait blending in, negative trait blending in. I wouldn't have thought I blended in either, but apparently I literally do, like, to behaviors and actions. It feels a little bit like you're just totally out of control, because yeah, it's fucking weird. But anyway, that's the next installment of this grand awakening journey that I seemingly have no fucking control over. Bring it on.